Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with some sports romance recommendations. I am so excited for the Women's World Cup that starts this month. I think July 20th is the first game, and I am in such a sports mood now. I watched one of their games yesterday of the day I'm filming this. The US women's team played Wales, and I'm just like, give me all the sports, and it always makes me want sports romances, whether it's like during Olympic time or during soccer World Cup time. I get in a very sports mood. So I have some sports recommendations for you of books that I read recently, and they're going to range from all different sports. I do have a request though. If you have soccer romances, send them my way. I love soccer. I just read one that comes out in August that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I did love the soccer content in there. So if you have any soccer romances for me, let me know. I feel like soccer and like baseball are pretty underrated when it comes to sports. I've got tons of football and hockey romances to recommend, and I also have a couple of, no, I think they're all football and hockey except for one. So I would love more recommendations of sports that aren't typically represented, but I'll go ahead and get to the recommendations and let you know some of my favorites recently. The first recommendation that I have is a new release, and that is Meet Your Match by Kandi Steiner. I'm on her ARC team, so I got to read this early. I loved this. I love this more than pretty much most of the books in her Red Zone Rival series because it's adult, and the Red Zone Rival series is her football college romances, and I actually think I liked book 4 the best in that series, but then I love this book. This one is a hockey romance, and it is forced proximity because the heroine works in social media, and she teams up with this podcast in the Tampa area where she is put on the job of doing like promotion for the new rookie on the hockey team, and that is our hero, and she basically has to live in his building and be with him 24/7, featuring him and showing him on all of their social media. And it blows up, gets like millions of views, like over 1 million followers, and she is trying really hard at her job, but the hero and her obviously have an attraction for one another, but she was really hurt in the past by someone similar to him, and she doesn't want to get hurt again, so she is very reluctant to trust, and it was so good. The way Kandi's heroes fall so hard for the heroines, I'm obsessed. I was obsessed with the second half of this book. So good. The beginning takes a little bit like to warm up to, so I did give this 4.5 stars, but I loved all the hockey in here. I loved how she didn't really know a lot about hockey, so I think it's good for people who don't necessarily read a lot of sports romances or don't know a lot about the sport itself. So good, and I loved all the side characters. Like the rest of the team, I'm like, give me their books now. Kandi does such a good job setting up her later books, so you're gonna want to read more. There's only one book out now, but I loved it. Then I have a football romance, and that is Tight Ends and Tiaras by Lex Martin. I read the first one last year, and then I always pick these up during Audible sales. So I got this one in the last Audible sale they had, and this one is I don't know how to describe it. It's like a surprise you have a child. So the hero is in college, and his sister's best friend is the heroine. So the heroine's had a crush on him, but he doesn't have the best relationship with his sister. He's really working on it because their parents passed away really young, and so he is going to therapy to try to work through like his trauma and his feelings towards that because it happened in a car accident. And the heroine is best friends with his sister, who was not adopted by his family like he was. I think he was adopted by like an uncle or something, and they didn't adopt her, so she went into foster care. And so there's a little bit of tension in the relationship that the heroine, who was in book 1, had to go through, who is his sister. So this is now his book, and he ends up having his ex reach out to him, wanting to reconnect. His ex he was with for multiple years, and she cheated on him, and so she was like, I'm moving in with this new guy, got pregnant really quickly, and he was like, okay. He's very hurt by it, but he's like, I don't want you because you cheated on me. And so she comes back into his life like 3 years later, and she wants to talk, and he's like, okay. Sees the baby, and it's like, well, she looked a lot like me. So she had lied about who the dad was, and it's actually our hero's child. So now he's like, well, now I have a daughter. And the ex is all like, well, I want to get back together. And he's like, no, like, I'm not interested in that at all. So he asks the heroine, who has, I think she lives next door to him right now, he asks her to be his fake girlfriend so they could stop his ex from wanting to get back together. And they fall really quickly for each other. It's very forced proximity. They have to go on this little like lake house beach vacation together with the ex and the baby, and he's trying to just learn to be a dad and learn to be in this daughter's life who he had no idea who she was for the past 3 years, while trying to play football and make it in the NFL. So he's dealing with a lot of drama on the team with the coach, trying to earn his place, and also be able to join the NFL when he graduates. So lots going on here. I really liked it. Really great sister's best friend or best friend's brother romance, and I like the football in here as well. Then we have Evermine by Laura Pavlov. This one is a hockey romance, and this one's actually a second chance romance. So they were dating when he was about to make it big. Now she is hired to be the sports psychologist for his team, specifically with him. So he is in kind of a mind block. He hasn't been really playing the best, and his coach is like, you need to figure out what's wrong and do it now. So he hires the heroine, and she has to work through his things going on mentally that could be stopping him from performing well, and that means rehashing old things that happened in the past. And of course she doesn't want to cross professional boundaries because she wants to be respected in her field and not known as someone who sleeps with her clients kind of thing, even if they do have a past. So this one I really enjoyed as a good second chance romance. I love second chance romances with sports romances where they were together like before the person made it big, and now they are like professional and they have to like rehash things and fall in love all over again. I have another one like that, which I guess I can talk about now. So the next one is The Third Baseman by Lulu Moore. This one is a baseball romance, the only baseball romance on this list. Oh, I forgot, I did have another baseball romance. So I have two that are not football or hockey. So this one's baseball, second chance. They were madly, madly in love. We get flashbacks to the past and the present in this one of them falling in love in high school, and then him obliterating her heart and leaving, making it big, and now she is hired onto the team, and she is this kind of like engineer. Her dream was like to go to space, and so the team hires her to come up with very unique ways to make them more successful, like in the little details and the analytics, becoming a better team. And so it's really because the hero demanded she get hired because he wants to win her back now, and it's really good. She's actually gotten, I believe, married and divorced in this one, and so they've lived lives, and it's now their time to have their second chance and understand why things broke down between them. And the timelines line up very well between the past and the present, where you're like slowly going up to like when he broke up with her and why, and him winning her back. And he has to grovel and plenty of baseball because they both work for the team. He's a player and she's working for it, so she's traveling a lot with them too, and I loved it. One I literally cannot stop talking about, which you guys are probably annoyed with me talking about this so much, but it is The Rest of the Story by Tal Bauer. If you love sports in your books, this is so sports. This is a hockey romance. It's MM between two teammates, and I feel like if you played a sport yourself, you would really connect with the found family aspect of this book, because I played sports growing up, and there's just a bond you get with your teammates. And in this one, they bond over a shared trauma of something that happened to all of them and really hold on to each other and create a very deep bond with one another. So the one hero is traded to the worst team in the league, and he's like, this is gonna ruin my career, like hockey is over. And he realizes something is wrong with this team, something really bad. And so he basically steps up, takes care of the problem, and is told he's the captain now. And he's like, that's not what I wanted, that's not the kind of person I am, but he kind of just found himself in that role. He starts falling for the rookie, who is basically like captain of the rookies, and he is trying to like hold everybody together and just support everybody on the team. And he is a little bit older than normal rookies because he played out all 4 years of college to earn his degree, and they start falling for each other. And it is so good. It's just really an underdog story of a team that's the worst in the league, that is just broken, defeated, and beaten down, and they are really striving to come together and work as a team and be really successful. And you're following them along their season, really rooting for them, wanting them to be successful, while these two are slowly falling in love with one another because they have baggage of their own. I loved it so much. So much. 5 stars, one of my favorites of the year. So much hockey too, and I think they do a really good job of explaining the hockey so you can visualize it in your head of what they're talking about. I loved it. Then a football romance that's really fun is Not So Lucky by Trilina Pucci. This one is a Married in Vegas romance where the hero and the heroine are super attracted and into each other in the beginning, and it tumbles into a we got married. So the book starts out when they wake up married in Vegas, and the heroine is like, what did I just do? And stumbles home to her friend. But then all this mayhem happens, and she is reunited with the hero because they want a divorce, and he's a professional football player, and the judge says no, that's not gonna happen because he is a little hostile towards his football team and the hero's choices with his career. So the judge says they have to be married for a month before he will grant them an annulment, and so the heroine cannot leave Vegas where he lives. So they have to live together for a month, and obviously they can't keep their hands off of each other, and they start falling in love, even though they're two people who are very much against falling in love with someone. And I really enjoy that. And the hero is going through career changes and training and all these things with football. So it's not like like super sports romance, but it does have a football player hero, and it was a spicy fun time, and I've really enjoyed reading it. One that is a different sport is Binding 13, which is rugby, and this one is very sports centered because they're both in high school and the hero's on the rugby team, and he has been training literally his whole life to be like this elite rugby player. He's on the school team, but he's also on this club team, and he's really good, but he is fighting an injury that is really beating him down, and he is hiding how much it's hurting him because he got surgery on it, and he is doing everything he can to not let people down and not let his career down and succeed. And the heroine really throws him for a loop because the heroine is new to his school because she was badly bullied at her old school, and he accidentally hits her with a rugby ball on the first day of school for her. And so her mom is like so upset, and she's like, "You're not gonna bully my daughter here." And so he learns things about her and feels super protective over her. And so it's their story, and I loved this book so much. I really loved the rugby aspect of it because rugby's a sport I don't really see a lot. I only follow a couple of the female rugby players from the Olympics on TikTok, and that's like my extent of rugby knowledge, but this one I thought just was so emotionally deep. The heroine does come up from an abusive household from her father. We get to see her relationship with her brothers, and I'm excited to read her brother's story because I know he gets 2 books, I think, with his girlfriend, and this one is just so emotional. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. You feel so emotionally attached to these characters because they're so vulnerable, and you just want the best for them and you want them to be together. I need to finish the series, but they are chunky books, but really good sports romance if you want to check out rugby. Okay, so the last 3 are hockey romances. So then I have On Thin Ice by Ellie Cotton. This one is a college hockey romance where the heroine's dad is kind of in the hockey sphere, and she is around hockey players a lot because her friend is dating a hockey player, her friend's from book 1, and the hero immediately is like, "You're just a puck bunny, I don't like you, I don't want to be around you," and she's like, whoa, okay. But then it just so happens she is part of his life in a different way that involves his brother, who is on the autism spectrum, and he has a lot of responsibility taking care of his brother and his single mom and sending them home money and trying to be a good hockey player to make it into the NHL. And he is constantly around the heroine now and can't deny their attraction, so he suggests friends with benefits situation so that they can get out of their system and not fall in love. Obviously they're gonna fall in love, but he is also a hockey player, and I love this book so much. I think it was a really great new adult hockey romance where it was not hate to love, but the hero was very resistant to letting the heroine in and obviously broke down his walls, so definitely check out Ellie Cotton. Then I have Wildcat by Rebecca Genshak. This one's an adult hockey romance where the heroine's dad is actually the coach, and the hero is at a bar, sees the heroine, they instantly hit it off, he takes her home. He has a massive house, and she's assuming it's his parents' house because they are young, and he said he's in school. He's taking college classes on the side to get his degree while he's in the NHL, and so the heroine thinks he's just a college kid. She didn't go to college, and she is afraid of like disappointing her parents, and later finds out that actually she's the coach's daughter and he is one of the players, and so they have to keep it a secret, and she has to take up jobs with the team for some of like the photography promo stuff, so they're around each other a bit, and I had a fun time reading this. It's a whole hockey series, so I'm excited to read more. And the last one is one I picked up because I was seeing it everywhere, and that is Iced Out by C.E. Ricky. This one is a teammates MM romance. I love it when they're teammates. I eat that up. I love it when they have to be around each other and it involves a sport. So they are teammates, and they have actually been rivals for a while, so they really don't like each other, and it just so happens that they hook up right before a game and they win. And so hockey players are very superstitious, so they're like, we should continue doing this, and they do, and it's that balance of, are we really doing this for superstitious reasons, or are we just like really into each other? And then obviously feelings get involved, they start really liking each other, and they both have very different home lives and different expectations from their parents when it comes to their hockey games, and I really like that, them opening up to each other and not being able to resist each other and having to play with one another. It's so good. I loved it. And those are my sports romance recommendations. Let me know your favorites, or if you've read these, and if you have any baseball and soccer romance recommendations for me, because I am dying for more recs of those sports, whether it is the hero or the heroine or any of the main characters that are the athletes. I need it. But that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.